Mm-mm-mm. All right, yo, what's going on? It's Between the Game Sports back again, and this time we have a former Division One player. He's actually a back-to-back Southland Conference champion, and he's going into his 7th year at Texas Lutheran. Coach Austin Falke. What's up, Coach?
Hey, how's it going, Will? Appreciate you having me on, man.
It's going good, man. Just staying out the way and staying out of trouble, pretty much. So,
Yeah.
with this crazy situation that our society is dealing with overall, so just kind of keeping to myself and staying out of trouble. That's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna jump right into it, and the first thing is I always try to get the coaches to kind of give a little background about themselves, and let the people know who you are and what you do.
All right. Well, I came from a small town called Thorndale, kind of pretty much smack dab in the middle between College Station and the Austin area. Back when I was in high school, I think it was a 1A high school, and I think they're 2A now, whatever the new reclassification went to. They're now 2A. Very fortunate to have played for a great coach, Jeff Lieberman, passed away a few years ago. A lot of high school coaches know him out there. He used to do a lot of the T-shirts for the state tournament. And so I got to play for him for basketball. We went to the state semifinals my junior year. We won state my senior year. Played baseball as well. Really loved both sports, basketball and baseball. And got very fortunate into where I got to go to college at Stephen F. Austin. And part of the reason was winning state my senior year. There were some people there that was able to pass the word on to coach, and I was fortunate enough. My high school coach reached out and was offered a preferred walk-on spot at Stephen F. and jumped on the opportunity to go there. And my biggest dream growing up was to play in the NCAA tournament. And I was very, very blessed. Obviously, we had two really, really amazing teams my freshman and sophomore year, and Josh Alexander, Matt Kingsley, Gerald Fonzie the first year, and was blessed to get to play with a lot of those guys. And fortunately, we went to the NIT my first year, and the second year we went to the NCAA tournament, and 38.4 seconds might not sound a lot to some people, but that's one of my greatest joys and greatest stories I get to tell is 38.4 seconds. I got to be on the court during the national tournament playing Syracuse, and one of my greatest blessings that I could ever be a part of. And I think the next year we went to we actually lost my junior year in the Southland Championship of the tournament to the school that shall not be named.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah. But, we still had a pretty good year there, too, even after we lost a lot of really key players, and Josh and Matt in particular. And, we still were right there knocking on the door, and it was a great blessing. Got a pretty good playing time as a walk-on my junior year. So after that, had some things going on in my personal life, took a year off, didn't play my senior year. Just needed to take a step back. My wife's mother at the time was sick of cancer, and had a lot going on with that. And basketball really wasn't that important to me at that time. And then I was very fortunate one day. Coach gave me a call kind of out of the blue about a year after that, and asked me to be a grad assistant. And I jumped on the opportunity. Definitely something that I needed, and saved me from a lot of other things I was going through at that time, and pulled me out of a rut, basically. And that's kind of how I got into really wanting to be a college coach. Working alongside Coach Tanner and Cinco Boone, who's at Angelo State, and Nick Shaw, who was on those first two teams. My freshman and sophomore year, he was an assistant as well. So got to work along those sides, as well as Kyle Riley, who was the other GA that we had, who's doing some great things with his church group, and got to learn a lot from those guys, and got my foot in the door, and been very fortunate to be where I'm at today. I think after that, I joined Coach Jimmy Smith. He had just gotten the head job at Shriner University, which is a Division III school in Kerrville, and was fortunate enough to get to know him. Met him at the Final Four that was in New Orleans that year, and he was close with some of the coaches on that staff, and we connected, and he gave me an opportunity to be an assistant coach. Worked there for 2 years. He then got the head job at Texas Lutheran, and I came over here with him first 2 years. Then he went on to be a Division I assistant at, again, the school I shall not name. He was there for a year, and then got a head job at Millsaps. He's now back at Trinity, just got the head job back over there. But after he left, Coach Mike Wacker, who is a high school coaching legend in the state of Texas, by all means, coached at Judson High School. He got the head job here at TLU, promoted me to associate head coach, and been working with him for the past 4 years now, and really excited, man. So that's a little bit of the background leading up to where I'm at today, and I'm very fortunate and been very blessed. So,
got it. That's a hell of a story. I know how it is to be a walk on and then play Division I. People don't really think you can play, but sometimes you got to show them better. You can tell them. So you keep saying TLU, and I know what it is, but there are a lot of people out there who don't know what it is. Just kind of tell people what that they never heard of Texas Lutheran. What is it? And what is it about?
Texas Lutheran University is a great institution, high academic school. We're in the Southern Collegiate Athletic Conference, which has teams like Trinity, Southwestern, Austin College, University of Dallas, Centenary College, which is in Shreveport, and then a couple schools up in Colorado College, Johnson Wales. We just added University of St. Thomas last year from the Houston area. So we're in a really good league. Our league is getting better. It's getting stronger, really competitive. We are located in Seguin, Texas, which is along I-10, about 30 minutes outside of San Antonio, and really good location, about 20 minutes from San Marcos, about 15 minutes from New Braunfels, about 45 minutes from Austin. So we're in a really good area, about 2.5 hours from Houston, depending on where you're coming from. So really good location. We got a lot of great history at TLU. Coach Wacker's dad, Jim Wacker, was a well-renowned football coach, won a couple national championships here, and a lot of players have played for him and done some great things. And so the athletics at TLU has been very, very good, and we've been very fortunate to have a lot of success, which I know we'll talk about a little bit later. We are a Division III institution, which we'll talk about that in a little bit too. But we've been very fortunate to have a lot of really good players and get majors in all different categories, go on, be successful. Guys working at Dell. One of our guys has just got a job at an accounting firm. A lot of former guys out there that are coaching, and that's a little bit about TLU. But it's a great place. If you don't know about it, come on down.
So you mentioned that you guys are Division III, and there's many levels to collegiate sports. There's D1, obviously, and then D2. Then you have D3, and then NAIA. For parents and players, what do they need to know exactly? What is Division III? What are the qualifications, I guess you can say?
Well, the biggest outlier with Division III is that we don't have athletic scholarships. So there's no athletic funding that we can offer a player based on his level of play, basically. That's usually a big turnoff to a lot of people. They don't see that athletic scholarship. So that's one of the hardest things that we probably have to deal with in communicating with players and families and getting them to understand, you do get money. There's a lot of academic scholarships out there. Every student that comes to TLU gets an academic scholarship. It's like that at most D3 schools, pretty much all of them, as well as financial aid that a lot of people qualify for to also put in together with your academic scholarships. So generally speaking, you get an academic scholarship, you see what you get from financial aid. Typically, it wouldn't be no different than if you were just going to school at, say, Texas State or Stephen F. Austin as a normal student. So I think that's the biggest outlier is people think that they're paying all this money when no, you probably have to pay a little bit, but it's nothing that breaks the bank usually.
Yeah. So, I grew up in Texas. I'm from the Houston area, and I had never heard of Texas Lutheran until after I after I graduated. And there's plenty of schools like that in the state of Texas, and a lot of parents and players don't really understand. Even at the Division III level, there's really high level players out there.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't. I guess they're just misinformed. I guess you're trying to say, and it's just, I think people need to give it a look. When I was coaching the AAU boys side, we had a player who was trying to get out there, and I guess he decided to go somewhere else. But you mentioned Centenary and St. Thomas. I know Coach Medina. I've done a couple of camps with him, and then I had a player. I think he had recently graduated from Centenary. Jericho Gray, I think is his last name. Lefty, Bryant.
Yeah.
He really turned into a decent player, man. He got big. He got really big. So and he was a really good player in high school, but he ended up going to Division III, and he's graduated. I believe he's about to start teaching actually. So do parents not know that you can still get an education and still play basketball or sports or whatever sport it may be up there?
Yeah, I think, number one, people think that the other thing I don't like hearing a lot is like people say Division III is like glorified club sport. That's not the case. I would encourage anybody to get out to games, go watch games at all levels. Everyone talks about Division I. You see the Dukes and Carolinas and stuff like that. That's high level. There's the Southland level, of Division I, the SWAC. There's all these different levels in Division I. There's some really good basketball Division II. St. Edward's has been killing it lately. Mm-hmm. West Texas A&M, I think, won the national title last year.
Oh wow!
Or played for it. And then NAIA, you look at how good NAIA basketball is. Division III is no different. I mean, everyone kind of knows a little bit. Duncan Robinson, I think he's with the Miami Heat, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. He played at Michigan. His freshman year, he played at a Division III. I believe it was Williams College. And he's an NBA player. I think he's kind of a rare deal, but, he didn't have, I think, but maybe one, maybe two offers of a Division I, and he chose to go to Williams College because he had a great relationship with the coach. And I remember when I was working at Shriner, we actually went up to the Final Four, the Division III Final Four that year, and watched him play. And I remember watching him like, how do they get a guy like this? And he was good. He was really, really good. And I think after that year, the coach took a Division I job, and then it opened an opportunity for him to go to Michigan. So there's a lot of really good talent. That's just an outlier a little bit, but even guys outside of that, there's really, really good talent at this level. And I don't think people see that all the time just because of the misnomer of the athletic scholarships not being there. Some kids get great full academic scholarships. Some qualify for Pell and financial aid money, and it's really talented, man. So I would encourage parents out there of kids to watch all kinds of level of basketball that you can. If you can get out to Division I games, go out. Division II, Division III, NAIA, JUCO. Get out to as many levels that you can and watch. I think that's one of the things I've learned is we try to encourage not just players. We try to get high school coaches and AAU coaches to come to games, come to practice, and see what it's like, to kind of get a better feel for some of the players we have, some of the intensity that the game is, and everyone that comes is kind of blown away by how good it is. So
yeah. So you talk about the level of play and the decent players and the great players that y'all get. So you got there in 2014, I believe.
Yep.
So what has your experience been like since arriving at Texas Lutheran overall?
Spoiled. We've been really, really fortunate since I got here. So I came here with Coach Jimmy Smith, who's now the head coach at Trinity, which is a rival of ours. They're in our conference. So it's going to be interesting going against him. But I came over here with him, and we were taking over a team that had gotten dead last in the conference the year before. They haven't really, I don't think they had a winning season in the last 6 years, or may have had one in there, but really haven't had that success. And we came in, and they had some good pieces already in place. We brought some of our guys in, our recruits, and we were able to turn it around that first year and win a conference championship and go to the NCAA tournament. The next year, we were even stronger, and we ended up being, I think, 21-7 overall. We actually were ranked in the top 25 in Division III. I think we made it to 21. We were the number one team in our South region, which allowed us to host the NCAA tournament game that year. And then after that, Coach Smith left. Coach Wacker came in. We didn't win the regular season, but we ended up winning the conference tournament championship, and went for the third year in a row to the NCAA tournament. The next year, we had lost a lot of those guys. Kind of had a new group, struggled, had our ups and downs. And then the next year, which would have been not this past year, but the year before, we had all those guys returning. We ended up winning the regular season and winning the conference championship and going to another NCAA tournament. And then this past year, again, we lost seven or eight guys from that team that had just won. And I think everybody had counted us out this past year. And I don't blame them. I mean, you see, like, hey, you lost, your top 8 guys, and we had one starter back, and I think outside of him, the other 2 guys that played a little bit played 8 to 10 minutes a game, if that. So we were very young this year, and I think people picked us like 7th or 8th in conference in the preseason. We ended up tying for 3rd, and we actually played for the championship game in the tournament. So 5 out of the 6 years I've been here, we've had a chance to play for the championship in the conference tournament. 4 out of the 6 years we've gone to the NCAA tournament. 3 out of 6 years we've won the regular season championship. So we've been very blessed, number one, to have that success, because it's not easy. It feels like it's become a norm. The norm, pretty much. Yeah. But again, that's not to say that other teams are not good. I mean, you got Centenary, who ended up winning it this year, was really good. They're going to continue to be good. Trinity is always good. Southwestern is going to be good. All these teams are going to be good. Obviously, St. Thomas does a great job. Coach Medina, got a lot of respect for him. And our league's getting really, really good. It's been really good, and it's getting even better. So the level of competition's always going to be there, and it's fun basketball. And my experience here, obviously, I love winning. Winning is something I love to do. A couple of state championships in high school. Got those 2 rings from Stephen F. And got 4 rings here at TLU. So I've been very, very blessed again. And a lot of that comes back to, obviously, the players that you have in your program. We can talk about, getting the studs and stuff like that. One thing that I think we've done a great job of is recruiting, number one, good quality guys, hard workers, guys that are unselfish.
Okay, that's my next question. So, yeah, definitely my next question.
I'll keep rambling.
No, it's definitely okay. So that's my next question. What type of players do you guys look for in the recruits when you're going out on the road and stuff like that? What does the program look for in a recruit?
First and foremost, it's obviously academics. I'll see it. Most of the time we try to connect with high school coaches or AAU coaches and try to get some leads on guys. And, we watch them. Sometimes we just see a guy we haven't heard about and we watch him. And if we like him, we mark him down. So we obviously look for the talent aspect first. But then the very next thing is we got to find out about academics. Where is this guy academically? What could he possibly qualify for? So that's one of the next things that we really look into, because we're not going to try to waste our time, and we're not going to try to waste that player's time if it's not going to be a reasonable possibility. So academics is obviously very big, because if you got good grades, you're going to get more academic money. So that's a key factor. The next thing is obviously character. I try to look for guys, what's their body language like? I really like, if there's a guy I like watching, whether it be in high school or AAU, I really watch intently and make it a purpose to watch what are they doing on the bench, when they're out of the game. What do they do right after they make a mistake? So I try to watch carefully on those things. And if there's a guy that doesn't handle things the right way, not to say I'm going to cross him off, but I'm going to continue to watch him and really watch what the body language is like, what the attitude's like, how is he communicating with the players, how does he communicate with the coach. So that's another big factor that me personally that I look into. And then it's just as you get to know the player through recruiting, as you get to know the families, really kind of get an idea of what their interests are. And getting to know them on a personal level. How do they communicate with you on the phone? Everyone's all about the texting now and social media stuff. And I'm not the biggest social media guy. I know that sounds bad coming from a college coach. You think everything's getting social media out there. I'm not big on it. I'm not really big on texting either. Just because you never get the idea of what somebody's feeling, or what the tone is like. So I like doing a lot of stuff on the phone, trying to talk to guys and get a feel for, questions I ask them, what's their tone like, especially when I bring up the Division III aspect. Okay, well, how do they respond to that? Kind of go from there. So a lot of factors, but talent, academics, character, body language, all those things we really delve into. And that's pretty much what a lot of programs will say.
Yeah.
But for me, character, I want to know the kid outside of the game. What is he like? What's his interest? What does he, does he get in the gym? If he gets in the gym, is he actually working? Is he actually working on the game, or is he just in the gym? You see a lot of guys that just want to go play. That's great. You see some guys that truly work on their game, or vice versa. I like seeing guys that, get in the gym and get in the gym with a purpose. Or if they're playing pickup games, which I'm all about playing pickup games too, but are you playing to work on something? Or are you playing, are you going to lock down that guy in open gym if somebody's killing it out there? Are you going to have that competitive edge without the competitive environment necessarily, like AAU or high school? So those are some other things I like trying to find out as you delve in deeper to getting to know the recruit and the individual.
Gotcha. So parents and players, if you're watching, I hope you heard what I heard. Your interactions with coaches and your teammates plays a big factor in recruiting at whatever level it may be. How you handle mistakes and stuff like that is very important. Even when I'm coaching, I try to tell kids, man, like even the best players in the world make mistakes. So you can't dwell on the play that just happened, get back or get ready for the next play. And so I heard you mention about qualifications and stuff like that. So what does it take to like qualify for D3 or as like clearinghouse and SAT scores and stuff like that?
So you don't have to have the clearinghouse done for Division III. I think you need that for Division I, Division II, NAIA. I don't know. I think NAIA has something separate.
Okay.
Not 100% on that. But you technically don't have to have a clearinghouse number or information. I encourage everyone to do that regardless, though.
Mm-hmm.
Just because a Division III is talking to you, you want to get all that stuff done. Cross all your T's, dot all your I's, get all that stuff done. But in terms of other qualifications, every Division III school is different. So I don't want to paint a broad brush that every Division III, you got to have this kind of standard. There's some Division IIIs that are super high, MIT, super high academic. We won't ever be able to touch those guys. Those are that's like 30, the best.
Yeah.
We won't be able to touch those guys probably. And other D3s, it just depends on the institution. Each institution is different in what they look for. What I always try to do is the best recommendation, 3.0, 1,000 SAT, 20 ACT. Typically, I try to make that not the bottom line, but kind of the standard. You'll have the best chance to get into a lot of Division III schools and qualify for as much money as you can. Obviously, we'll look at some higher than that. When you're a little bit below, it's not to say you can't go to a Division III. It just depends, again, on the individual institution. Some can get in with a little bit lower, 275. You're pushing it. It's going to be tough. And it's about trying to get we don't want to bring in guys that are not going to get a lot of academic money, because then it's just doing a disservice to them. So I've had to tell guys, as much as I like the player, I've told some players in the past that, look, it's not in your best interest to come here. As much as we would love you to be here, you're going to be having to take out too much money or pay too much money. So we try to be very cautious on that aspect of things and make sure that it's something that makes sense, not just for us, but it makes sense for the player and his family. And hopefully, we're very honest in that approach. So.
Gotcha. So, D3, every division has different rules, I guess you can say, for as communicating with your players, especially right now with the coronavirus situation and stuff like that, and stuff that's going on in the nation. What talk are you guys having with your current players about the coronavirus situation?
A lot of it's just, I haven't done anything Zoom wise with the entire team or anything like that, but I reach out to all the guys on our team. I try to do that as often as I can, whether sometimes it might just be a text, sometimes it might be a phone call. The most important thing is just trying to keep them up to date with what's going on. And our school's been doing a great job of that, of putting information out there with what's going on, and not just with our school, but obviously making sure people understand the guidelines and the policies that are set out there to be as safe as possible. A lot of people are just trying to get out there and go places and do things, and they want to go hoop and they want to do all this. I'm like, just be smart, I can't tell anyone not to do anything. But I think it's mostly just making sure they're number one, them and their families are safe. They're doing well. And number two, just making sure they're staying on top of things, doing what they need to, and having a good mental attitude about things, and keeping themselves sharp. That's the biggest thing, is just making sure they know that we care. They know that we're trying to stay in touch with them. And I had some really good talks with some of the guys, and some of them probably are, hanging out and doing fun stuff, and got to be like, well, just make sure you check with your parents, make sure you're not just going out and doing stuff, but they're all doing good, man. So.
Okay. So do y'all know, y'all have a time frame of when, kids might be able to come back on campus, or it's just kind of up in the air?
Again, I can only speak on our school. So we're still doing online stuff right now. I think starting summer B session, which starts in July, they're going to do some in-person classes, and then some they're going to try to do half and half and keep it at a minimum, but just try to start doing that. The plan is to try to get things back as they are come August to start a fall. Our president, Dr. Cottrell, has been doing a great job, and all the committee members regarding COVID and everything have been communicating daily and planning and talking with Board of Regents and doing a tremendous job to, number one, make sure that everyone's going to be safe, that we have procedures in place to make sure that we can get the school year off to a right start. So.
Okay, man, that's pretty good. I've heard from other coaches they kind of adopting the same philosophy and trying their best to contact their players as much as possible. But you never know when you're not with your players. You never know what they're up to. You hope that they're working out. You hope that they're running. But
I got a few that I'm wondering how they're going to be when they get back.
Yeah, I already know. It's I remember going home for summer break right after graduation and stuff like that. Going into my senior year, I went home for like a week, 2 weeks, or something like that. I can't remember. And coming back for that first workout with Coach Eason, oh my God! And I really thought I was working, but it's nowhere close to what it is when you're working with somebody's watching you, especially when a coach is watching you. And so I can only imagine how y'all players are going to be when they get back.
Did you guys did y'all have the ladders when you played? Or did y'all
No. I missed the ladders. I missed the ladders. And what's crazy, I had practice with my AAU girls the other day, and we did a ladder. And of course, I adjusted the time for them because they're sophomores and freshmen in high school. But I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know if I've been able to do that because I remember the first time I ran a Suicide Plus, and I had to dive just to make it.
Yeah.
Coach Casper told me, it's like, hey, man, if you're going to be in here, this is your last time diving. So it's
I guess it was my freshman year. We just implemented the ladders or something. And it was like the last day of summer conditioning stuff. And he was like, you guys are going to do this ladder. And that's what we're going to do when we get to the fall. So I don't know if y'all did like Suicide Pluses halfway at the end.
Yeah, two of them.
We still had the plus at the halfway point, but then we had the ladder. Man, that first ladder, I'm running it. Nobody's making it except for maybe I think Josh.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, that's about the only person that made it. I don't know if probably people weren't really trying. But I mean, I was so far off on my times. I went home. I think what was it, 2 weeks before the fall semester started. I went home and every day ran a ladder because I'm like, I'm not gonna not make this. I think I ended up losing like 15 pounds because I did it in a gym that had no AC. So I was running. Oh, it was terrible. I get back the first day, and man, I'm a freshman, starry-eyed, thinking like, hey, this is we're gonna be just kind of easing into things. Man, first day, we got that ladder, man. I made sure to run. I think Fonzie was in that group. So I was just trying to keep pace with him. I was like, he's been here. I'm just going to try to, if he don't make it, I'm going to be right there with him. Yeah. I'm trying to keep pace with him. And we got to the last one, and I'm pretty sure I just fainted over the line. And people telling me to get up and everything like that. I was like, man. So that was the only part.
That's how I used to be with the mile, man. I struggle with the mile, being a bigger guard, man, and I struggle with the mile. And Josh would just be up all night and whatever. And he would walk down straight to the track and run a 5:05, and I'm like, man, like, dude, how are you doing this? I'm huffing and puffing. Cam used to kill him out.
Dude, Kyle Jacobs, that dude would kill it.
Yeah.
And, dude, again, I tried to find people that I felt were on similar pace with me, or at least I like Eric Bell and Fonzie. Those are two guys I was just like, I'm gonna try to make sure I'm at least near one of those guys. And I don't care how hard it is. I'm just going to try to be near them as much as possible because they'll be on pace, and then I'll just hope to finish.
I had no chance, man. It was me, Keith. Like, we were bigger guards, so we was always in the section by ourselves trying to make the mile, man. And I got a story about the mile. I'll save that for another day, but it was crazy. I missed the mile by like 2 seconds. I literally almost quit that day. Like I was hot. I was hot.
I kind of got screwed over a little bit because my junior year, was it my junior year? Yeah, I think it was my junior year. And we were doing the miles, and he had that rule that if you make 3 of them in a certain time,
you're done. Yeah.
So that's all I tried to do. Well, I think around that time the swine flu stuff was going on, and a lot of our guys ended up, I think, getting the flu. I don't think anyone had the swine flu, but I ended up actually. It's the only time in my life I've actually ever had the flu. And so I missed one of the mile runs. And so all the guys that I usually kept pace with were done. Mm-hmm. And so the next week I did the mile run. I'm like, I have no idea how to pace my I think I probably ran my fastest mile that time just because I was like, I just got to run because I had the big guys with me, and that was pretty much it. So
that's tough, man. So we were very fortunate to have great assistant coaches, not only as a head coach, Coach Tanner, and I don't know if y'all had Coach Peavy. He might have been gone.
Coach Peavy actually, when I did my visit, like in April, Coach Peavy was still there. Coach Peavy was the one that actually showed me around and took me a lot of places. So yeah, like when I got back, he was gone. I was like, what happened to him?
Yeah. Now he's a state champion coach. He might win state again next year. He probably was going to win it this year. But so I think those coaches really got a joy out of us, kind of fulfilling and graduating, especially. So, what is your biggest joy from coaching, and what do you hope that your players learn from you after they're done?
Number one, I hope they learn how to treat each other, treat other people, and the way I hopefully treat them with respect and care and love, that they reciprocate that and pass it along to everyone they come across. I think that's my number one goal, and want to make sure they obviously are held accountable and walk the straight path as best they can. And not to say that anyone's not going to be mistake free or anything, but to learn how to be able to overcome those mistakes and bounce back. And again, just treat people with care and love. I think my biggest joy is obviously seeing the success, again, being here and the success that we've had, and you watch as guys accomplish something and seeing the joy that they have for one another, whether it be the guy that's playing a lot or the guy that's hardly playing at all. You see how much joy they have for one another as a group, as a unit. And I think that's one of the best joys I see. And then beyond that, when they would graduate, seeing them get jobs and seeing them be successful in life. And like I said, we have some guys that are working at Dell, and I'm actually going to Corpus this weekend. One of our guys is working at the aquarium down there.
Okay.
So I'm gonna get to see him and staying in touch with them. There's some guys and as a young coach, you don't really know a lot of that. I think when I first got into coaching, I knew it was something I've always wanted to do as coach. You love the game, that's kind of what you do. And I had these 2 twins back when I was in high school, the Youngblood twins. They're probably what really inspired me to want to be a coach. And it was just being in the gym, and they're in the gym, and we're just working on our game and putting them through some drills. And that probably is what kicked me off into wanting to get into coaching. After leaving Stephen F. and I get to Shriner, there was, young coach, you have certain ways of thinking. A lot of coaches say they get into the game because they want to help people, which is definitely true. Took me a little longer to learn that. I'm a very competitive person. I love winning, and I love competing, and so that's kind of what made me want to get into coaching, and to stay around the game. And then as I gotten older, I've learned it's about the relationships, and I think that's one of the best things I've learned so far is being able to try to stay in touch with former players as much as I possibly can, and making sure they're doing well and staying safe and accomplishing the things they need to accomplish in life. So the relationships is another part of the joy I think that comes with coaching. And one of the things I truly like that brings people together. So I think building the relationships and then just seeing other people's success, I think, is what really what I enjoy. So,
Gotcha, understood. Like me doing AAU coaching, and I tell kids all the time they have these dreams of making it to the NBA or whatever it may be, and it's like, Coach, I'll get you this, and Coach, I'll get you that. I'm like, man, I don't need any of that. A simple, I don't even need that. But if they tell me thank you, I'm good with that. And my first group of kids, they're like 24, 25 now, which makes me old. One kid, he's about to have a baby. He's a father. I mean, he's a husband, and it's just weird. And he texts me all the time, like, man, Coach, thank you for your time. And that's all I can ask for, because I remember coaches when I was growing up, they didn't have to do it. Nobody paid them, and they was taking us all across the state. And we went to Kansas one year, and they paid for it out of their own pockets. And I see them, and I always tell them thank you. So what you're saying is definitely a huge reward, I guess you can say, that relationship and that bond that you can never get rid of. So you've been doing your assistant coach for a while. This is your year 7 at TLU, but ultimately, what is your overall goal with coaching? What do you see yourself doing in the future?
I'm somebody that takes things as I go. Again, when I started out, it's that same thing as players have, that Division I mentality. I want to be a Division I coach. I want to, do all those things. Again, as I've gotten older and gotten a little more mature, number one, first and foremost, my family is going to come first. And being in the right place, right situation, that's what I'm going to look for. We're both, me and my wife are both very big on family. And so family is always going to come first with every decision that we make in life. So that's my ultimate thing is being the best person I can be for my kids. 2 little girls, making sure they grow up and stay healthy and can do the things they want to do in this life. If opportunities come, head coaching or other opportunities, whatever, I'm definitely going to look into them. But I'm very happy with where I'm at right now, and God has me in a good place. And again, I'm always going to trust His plan as well, and see where things lead me. That's number one. Wherever I can be the most impactful is where I want to be, and wherever I can make sure my family is going to be in a good place, that's what I'm going to ultimately look for above anything else.
Got you. So there's a few people watching. If they got questions, they can definitely ask. I'm always going to try to do some rapid fire questions at the end. Just kind of 2 or 3 words, and in your answer is fine. But if you want to go further, that's fine. And with this, start of 2020, the death of Kobe Bryant, I'm always going to ask people about him. He really became a focus in my life as I got older. He's part of the reason why I named the name of this stuff called Between the Game Sports, because he really set the standard for working when the game wasn't going on, when the lights were off, and the crowd wasn't cheering and stuff like that. So Kobe Bryant in your best description.
Fatherly. I think that was the thing. I remember when that story came out, me and my wife were headed to Lowe's or Home Depot. You know, once you get older, that's apparently the way you do all the time. I know I've made it as an adult because that's my go-to stores right now. But we were on our way to the store, and I'm driving. My wife tells me what happened, and I mean we both just like the world was. We were kind of in shock, and you know, it really obviously. Look, I'm a dad of 2 girls, so all that girl dad stuff and watching who he was as a father is probably what made me the saddest about his passing. Obviously, he was a tremendous player and tremendous work ethic and everything like that. And I think people probably get mad at this. I probably still have him above LeBron in my opinion. Again, I'm gonna get some flack on that. I know.
Yeah.
But again, I think it goes beyond you know, just talent or anything like that. And but obviously he's going to be the best when it's all said and done, I think.
We shall see.
MJ's obviously hard to beat, but that's a conversation for another day. But no, watching how he was with his daughters, especially the one that passed away, and watching how he just was laughing and smiling all the time, and the impact he had on other people's lives with AAU and with him trying to grow women's basketball, along with so many other things, I think was what hit home most, and definitely made me look at my girls and just be like, I hope that they smile like that and look at me like that, and hopefully make sure we represent that well. So,
gotcha. Girls' dad, as they said. I was actually getting ready for AAU tryouts when the news came out, and like I was devastated. I went to AAU tryouts, and I really couldn't get through it. For us, just a person that loves basketball, and then now dealing with girls, AAU, it was a crazy. Like you can't think of that ever to happen. Like those type of people are not supposed to die in those type of situations. So it's just kind of crazy. And you mentioned your kids, and that was my next kind of quick answer, a quick question. Your wife and kids, like, what do they mean to you?
Oh, they're everything. As I mentioned earlier, I will do anything for them. And my wife, we've been together since we were sophomores in high school. So we're like an old married couple, and you know, we get after each other, but you won't find a deeper love, I think, that we have for each other. And you know, every coach will tell you they're only as good as their significant other, and you know, my wife is no different, man. She's my rock, and somebody I lean on for understanding, and somebody I go to if I'm upset, you know, and she'll give me honest answers, and sometimes she may just say, "Suck it up, man." And my kids, like I said, I had 2 girls, and we talked about this a little bit before the show, but I couldn't see myself having anything but girls right now. I'm so incredibly blessed. Lily, my oldest, going to be 3 in July. My youngest, Autumn, just turned 1 last Saturday. So seeing time fly by, man, it gets to you. You know, we talked about, hey, I'm, you know, going into my 7th year at CLU, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh my gosh, my kids are getting old. You know, so, I just want to make sure that I do right by them, first and foremost, and I give them every opportunity that I'm able to as a parent, and make sure they learn the right ways and how to do things, and how to be in this life, and to make impacts themselves as they get older. So,
gotcha. Me knowing you from back then to now, I definitely know that they're on the right track. And so my next question is, SFA. What does it mean to you?
uh,
Stephen F. Austin, for those that don't know.
Yeah, lumberjacks, baby.
Yeah, you know.
It means everything, man. I went through some of my highest of highs, and I went through some of my lowest of lows during my time there. So I had a lot of growing. Both me and my wife did. My wife also went to Stephen F. Austin, and just yeah, I mean, it was home. I think that's a very important thing is, for younger kids out there is, when you're looking at places, obviously, we don't want to see guys transferring 3-4 different schools, but when you're looking at choosing a school, you want to choose somewhere that can feel like the most home. And Stephen F. was that for me. It was my home. It was my wife's home. We had a lot of great memories there, obviously through basketball and making friends that we made. I haven't gone back one time after I graduated. I think my youngest kid was a little older than one when we went back. So it was a couple years ago. Just being there, it still felt like home. You got, Casa Tomas, favorite restaurant, bullfrogs and all those places out there, man. So yeah, it means everything, man. I mean, got my bachelor's, I got my master's there. It'll always be the place that I'll be proud of that I went to. Proud of the connections I've made when I was there. Proud of the experience I had when I was there. Like I said, not a lot of people can say that when you have the highest of highs and lowest of lows in one place, but I think that's what makes me appreciate it even more.
Gotcha. I went to SFA by like accident, and like I really did, and I can really say, man, I ended up loving it, man. Even after I got done with school and ball, like I stayed like 2 or 3 years working out there, and it just kind of, like you said, it felt like home. Even though I'm from Houston, it doesn't make sense, but it made sense at the time, and I really, like you said, like you grow out there and you figure out who you are and you figure out yourself, and things like that. So we're going to get down to the last one. You're going into your 7th year at TLU, Texas Lutheran University, Seguin, Texas, I believe you said.
Yes, sir.
So what are your thoughts on the 2020-21 season?
Exciting. As long as everything can go smoothly with the virus stuff going on, and seasons can be played, and which everything is pointing to that will happen. But obviously there might be some things that go on. So, a lot of that question mark is up in the air. But in terms of just talking basketball and the team that we have coming back and the guys that we brought in, I'm fired up, man. I think we returned a lot of guys. We brought in some really good pieces. I just want to get back to work with the guys, basically, man. We have a good schedule coming up, and again, I want to encourage anyone out there that's listening or tunes in. Hit me up. My information's online. Feel free to give me a call or an email, and I'd be happy to answer any other questions that might come up if somebody hadn't asked them, or if somebody does have questions. I'm always open to trying to respond as much as I can. And then if anyone ever wants to come to a game, I encourage it again. Check out the games as much as possible. All of our games are streamed online for free, so you can check those out on our website when we play games, which I think is another cool thing. So,
yeah, what's the website?
It's www.tlu.edu. That's our school website. The athletic website is tlubulldogs.com.
Gotcha. So parents and players, if you're out there listening, check out TLU. Coach Falke's information, his Twitter handle is down at the bottom. Man, I don't even know what else to say. I really appreciate your time. Like I said, with all the other coaches, man, time is something that you can't get back. And when somebody gives it to you, you appreciate it. So, I really appreciate you, getting on here with me and stuff like that.
Well, I appreciate you having me, and You're doing some really good things with the show, man. I'll be tuning in. Like I said, I watched your other two, and I'm going to continue watching. I know you got Walt coming on one. You got Coach Tanner coming in.
Got Tanner on Saturday, man.
You're getting some celebrities too.
Yeah,
big, man.
We're getting there, man. I got Tanner on Saturday. I talked to him earlier, so
yeah,
we're ready, man. It's definitely something new, and I'm enjoying it for the most part, and so we shall see where it goes, man. Only God can, see what happens. So
yes, sir. He won't lead you the wrong way. I'll tell you that.
all right, man. All right, people, we finna get out of here, man. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good one.
Thanks.
All right.